Hey everybody, it's Jimbo's Grapes here. Been a little while since I made a video, um, and I just now hit titanium again. I didn't do it after 2 days this time. I took my time, got it in maybe 4 play sessions, but one of those was about maybe 7 or 8 hours long. So definitely took a bit longer this time, maybe about 15 to 20 hours of playtime. Um, I did actually crush through platinum pretty well, and I just want to go over basically my run and the decks that I used to get there. So in silver, which is where you start if you're at platinum, in silver I was using this deck. Nope, I lied. um, I was using, where are you? This one. So I was crushing it pretty hard. Using the Ritual of Elements and the Leafkin Progenitor combo. For those of you that don't know, if you're lucky and get a Lightning Titan off of this guy right here, and you have a Leafkin Progenitor, you can get your Leafkin Progenitor from... So all you guys have aggressive, and then you can get your Leafkin Progenitor from level 1 to level 3 immediately, and then activate it and put another one, and then do that again, activate it, put another one, do that again, and you can fill up your board with 11/11 aggressive creatures. It's quite the combo, very, very powerful, and if you get it off, you basically win the game on the spot unless they have something like an Avril's Edict, which did happen several times, but even then I was still able to win because you still do, 33 to 44 damage in one shot, which is pretty huge in power level 1. So I was writing this deck, just a raid deck. This was basically the deck that I ran the first Titanium season that I got to Titanium very, very quickly. It was very similar to this, just the Ritual of Elements didn't exist, so this combo wasn't in here. I think I had like some Shatter Bolts and just random stuff like that, and just some filler cards. So I played this up until about Gold 1, Gold 2, and then the meta started to shift. There was a lot of people playing robots. Robots was just destroying this deck because as soon as they get a creature with 10 armor on it, there's absolutely almost zero way that you can kill it unless you get lucky with Elysian Shard. I tried putting Thunder Swords in, still not really doing that well. Tried doing a bunch of stuff, just could not win against this horde of robot decks that was coming out. Even against like, I don't know, control decks, it wasn't that good. Like, this deck is pretty good against stuff like Poison. It's pretty good against mediocre leveler decks, like kind of mid-rangey leveler decks, or decks that are really, really greedy, because you can kill very fast with this deck. But yeah, overall, kind of just getting absolutely destroyed with playing this deck, so I decided to switch it up. And then I started playing 2 decks. As I'm sure most of you know, I double and triple Q. This season I pretty much only double Q'd. I don't think I triple Q'd at all. I was playing this deck for a bit. This deck was fun, not the greatest. This deck could probably use a lot of tweaking. This one in particular was pretty good against the robot decks. Fared fine. But still, instead of this, I'd probably rather just play mono Necreum. Because you get Tarsus, like you basically take out Avarice, Windweaver, Netherstreak, Master of Elements, Ritual, Everflame Mystic, and then put in all the good Necreum cards like Patron and more removal spells, and yeah, it's just a little bit better, I think, just playing mono N. You have a more control-y game, and you also get to play Patrons, which is just like insane. Anyway, so I was playing this deck for a bit. Definitely worked. I had a positive win rate with this deck, but there's better options, I think. And then I tried playing Alyssa a bit. I could show this deck. Actually, I don't even know if I played a game with this deck, so whatever. But around middle gold, I decided to kind of do a switch, and I started playing control decks. So this was the deck that I played, and I played these decks all the way to Titanium, had a very high win rate. This is the first deck. I was double queuing, and I was playing 2 different decks the whole time. This is deck number 1, and I was doing very well with this deck. There's one change that I think you could make, is maybe take out a Stag for an Oros. Stags are better against burn, but Oros is better against pretty much everything else. So probably make that switch. The big things that I made changes to this deck that made it just go from being, in my opinion, A tier to S tier was I added in Sharp Plate Toxoids and Frontline Combatants. These 2 cards are just so freaking good at controlling the board. So like all of those decks before that were just like would just grow the board and kill you. Now all of a sudden you're able to actually fight that with these 2 cards. I had Energy Surges in here before, and I want to say one more Dendrify and just, I don't know, other random crap. The Toxoids and the Frowning Combatants are just so good. Oh yeah, I had Behemoths in here at one point, just as a big underdrop body to try and combat it. But yeah, these 2 cards do that so much better than, and they also level really well, which is pretty darn good in leveling the deck. Nova Grove Queen, this is the Mirror Breaker. That's why I have 2 of them. Like, you'll be, if you're in a control mirror, this card has won me probably 3 out of the 5-ish control mirrors that I played. It's that late game bomb that makes you go from to yeah. Yeah, this is the card that I definitely think is important for the mirror. There was one game where the guy had like 300 life at one point. I also had like 150 life, and he Spirit Cleaved 3 one of my Oros 4s for like 150 life, and I was still able to one-shot him with Nova. I chip damaged him down to about 200 life, and I hit him for 200 in 1 turn with Nova. So yeah, it's pretty darn good. So yeah, this deck, like I said, maybe the one change here, but this deck I played quite a bit, and I think it's fairly streamlined now. Probably not the best for laddering with. You could probably get just as high of a win rate with something like Burn, or something along those lines. The robot decks are pretty good. Plus, they're faster a lot of the time. Plus, you don't have to think as much, which is pretty important. Like last night, I was playing for about 7-ish hours, and yeah, my brain started to just kind of give up on me because I was, like I said, I was multi-queuing with 2 different control decks, and yeah, you really gotta work your brain overtime to make optimal plays all the time. And by the end of it, I was just clicking cards and losing a lot because, well, I wasn't losing a ton, but I was losing more than I probably should have because you need to actually think. And on top of that, the graveyard bug is pretty annoying when you have Killians, but that's something that will hopefully be fixed very soon. So yeah, this is the deck. It's decently difficult to play. You have a lot of decision points. I was playing that I used my Ambryl's Edicts very, very aggressively. Even if I was just killing like 1 creature with it or 2 creatures with it, I would Ambryl's Edict like all the time, because in the later stages, if you level up your combatants and your Shard Plate Toxoids, they're good enough to pull you through power level 2 that you can get to your late game bombs. So yeah, I was Ambryl's Edicting fairly aggressively, and yeah. So this was one of the decks that I was playing. Again, I kind of ran through Platinum fairly quickly. There was a lot of close games, but I managed to eke them out. So definitely recommend this deck if you're struggling with Platinum. Yeah, it just worked out really well. The addition of the Frontline Combatants was so huge. They again took the deck from middle-ish A tier to, I think, probably S tier. They're just so good. And then the next deck I was playing was... Oh, sorry. One other thing that I want to say about this deck before we move on. Originally, I had Energy Surges and Lucid Echoes. Lucid Echoes are really good in the mirror, but the mirror is just not that relevant. Most people are playing robots right now. If the mirror ever does get big, say after the end of this video, if a lot of people happen to watch it, then Lucid Echoes is something that you could add to be another mirror breaker card, but it's already got the new 2 Nova Grove Queens, so maybe you could like a Stag and put in a Lucid Echoes, but again, not super important. And I had Energy Surges in here. They're not that good. I cut those for the frontline combatants, and it was just like night and day. I was just winning so many more matches that I wouldn't have been winning before. You really don't want to have too many cards to level, because the thing is, like, I've already got Krogius, and Energy Prison's a pretty high priority level target. And then on top of that, even if you don't have either of these 2 cards to level, like, you're leveling up Toxoids, Frontline Combatants, and Novas, and Gore. Like, all the rest of the cards are really, really good to level anyways. So, yeah, cut the Energy Surges. It's just, they were bad. Anyways, on to the next. So, this other deck I had, play 3 cards again. Originally, this deck was a Cackle Fiend deck with Arbiters and Leyline Demons. And I was playing with it, a decent amount, doing okay, like, maybe 60-70% win rate. Somewhere in there, 60 to 70%. I don't think I was really over 70% with the deck. Because, Cackle Bones Arbiter, it's kind of a cutesy combo. If you don't level up the Cackle Bones or get them on time, they're just like old bad removal spells where, your opponent plays a level 2 and you have like 2 level 1 Cackle Bones in your hand, and they're just garbage. So yeah, Cackle Bones, in case you guys don't know, destroy an enemy level 1 creature, level 2, or any creature, and then they get to play another card. You pair that with Arbiter. Whenever they play a second card in a turn, they discard their hand instead. If someone does play it against you, you can actually discard a card in your hand and then play 2, so you get to level up the other card and before you discard your hand, just so you know, a little trick. I also had Soul Drinkers and Soul Reaps in the deck. Ended up cutting the Soul Reaps. They just weren't really that good. Again, kind of like the deck before was like a lot of like really cutesy, try to do weird stuff type of deck, and I ended up changing it just to be a control deck. Iron Maidens are mediocre. I barely won any games with these, maybe one. Yeah, I think I won 1 game with Iron Maidens. The rest was with just Azimuth the Undying Swarm, which is way better. Plus I got the alternate arts finally, so, there's that. And I don't have the alternate art Iron Maidens, so, it is what it is. But yeah, again, friendly combat just so huge. Ambrose Edicts playing pretty aggressively. Leyline Demons are actually really good in this deck. Despite not having the Cackle Bones to trigger your opponent. There's just a lot of decks playing 3 cards right now, so Leyline Demons are pretty good. Varna, this was an addition that I made after the fact, realizing that if you have a level 3 Zimus die and you Varna it back, like, that's basically game. Scythe of Chiron, not super necessary in the deck, but it is really good against Growwide, especially the level 2 Scythe. There was one game that I can recall where the guy had a huge board, and I just kept scything it, and all of his guys had like 1 or 2, or like 0 to 4 attack, and they were just not doing any damage, and he had a full board, but none of his guys were doing any damage, and I was able to just like win the game off of that. So you could replace this with something else. This is a deck that I have not as much experience with tinkering around with as the AU Leveler deck. So as far as suggestions, I can't really give any. But yeah, this is one that is kind of on the fence. Soul Drinker was amazing. Again, it's another card that you kind of, obviously you have to level it for it to be any good. But there was one game I was playing, he was playing a Wagyu deck, which this card is hilarious against Wagyu, let me tell you. But he's playing a Wagyu deck with Arbrosis. What's it called? Yeah, this guy, Arbrosis. And he had 200 life and he played the level 3 Arbrosis. And I Soul Drinkered it with a level 3 Soul Drinker to get plus 100 attack. And then I Spirit Cleaved it to gain 100 life. So yeah, it was pretty great. And then he timed me out, so you know that's fair. That was fair. That was a fair timeout. Just shut his computer and walked away. Went out to see the outside for once. But yeah, this deck is probably more fun to play. I don't know if it's as good or it might even be better, but I was winning a lot with it. So I'm just throwing this out there. It like I don't know, it kind of just looks like a jumble of cards, but it's got really good late game potential. Lots of removal. Soul Drinkers become removal. Zimis, the Undying, they're so annoying. They get in the way of everything. Spirit Cleaves, Death Currents, like you just control the board so well. And Frontline Combatants and Abriel's Edict. So yeah, you control the board really well with this deck, and the late game is very strong, especially with the Soul Drinkers, the Zimises and the Varnas. There was one game I played where I had 2 level 3 Zimises and Varnas against a guy that was playing the AU control deck, and I had a level 4 Varna, and he played level 4 Nova, and then I Varned it all away, and yeah, just destroyed him. He played several Krogias in the game, played a level 4 Nova, and I was able to still eco to victory. He even had a wipe clean when I had 2 level 3 Zimis in play, so yeah, I was able to win even against another level, an AU level deck that had everything it could have ever wanted. So definitely speaks to the strength of the deck. Again, Iron Maidens, they're okay. I mean, I've never been a fan of Iron Maiden, so I'm a little bit biased. I honestly prefer Soul Drinker over Iron Maiden, which is weird, I know. But, yep, there it is. These are the decks that I used. Again, to go from basically middle of gold to titanium was the AU deck and this deck right here. And to get from Platinum 2 to Titanium, that was when I made the changes and put the Frontline Combatants into both decks, and it just made the grind. Like, it just made it so much better, both of the decks. Frontline Combatants really good. So, yep, that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and go annoy your opponents with Krogius and Iron Maiden. Have fun with that. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch y'all later.